Hello, world. Hello, world, and welcome to the Shannon Joy Show. We're broadcasting live from the Joy Virtual Studio right here in the beautiful Finger Lakes region of New York State. It is so good to be with all of you today. It is Thursday, August 13, and I know I am late. I am late for a very important date with all of you. We're supposed to start around 12:25, 12:30 every day on the Shannon Joy Show. But as you all know, I had to say goodbye to my son, Jack, who pushed out this morning for college. And it was, a mother's heart cannot take saying goodbye to her children. I'm just going to say it right now. He's 20 years old. And I blame it all on devastatingly handsome Dr. Joy because he got me all weepy. He's like, honey, it's different this time. He's not just going to college. His whole life is packed up in that car. He's going to his first apartment. He's never going to come home. I'm like, babe, why are you doing this to me? I just put my makeup on, 20 minutes till showtime. It was a mess, an absolute mess. No, it was okay. Very proud of him. The kids need to be up and out and independent. And so it's very bittersweet when you send them out. But I'm also very proud of them when they venture out on their own and get it done in the real world. So yes, that's what I dealt with this morning. Of course, I'm Shannon Joy. Welcome to the show. We're broadcasting live on Rumble. We're live on Twitter, Spreely TV, Roku TV, Apple TV. We are live on YouTube, live on Facebook, Substack, and you can get the SJ Show at your leisure on any of your favorite podcast platforms. It is the end of the week, last show of the week today. And next week, I have to say goodbye to my daughter. She's going to be a freshman at Austin Peay University in Tennessee. And so we're going to be driving down 13 hours there, 13 hours back, 26 hours in the car with the three of us. And I just don't know how I'm going to do it. I want them to stay home forever, but she's gonna do great. It's gonna be fine. Everything is going to be fine. How are all of you doing today? The Rumble live chat is already heating up. If you're watching on Rumble right now, please do me a favor and give the show a thumbs up. Say hello. Join that live chat. That's how we grow the footprint of the Shannon Joy Show and massage those algorithms so that we can organically grow. Same goes for YouTube and Twitter and Facebook and Substack. If you're watching, retweet, repost, give a thumbs up, join the comments. It's great to see all of you on the live chat. Edgar 615 is the first chatter with us today. Honor Seeker is with us as well. Great to see you, Honor Seeker. Be My Valentine. Good afternoon, dear friends. Hey, CJP Rumble, Zen Woman, and Mama C 1996. Glad to see you on the live chat right here on Rumble. Honor Seeker with a $20 tip on the live chat. Thank you so much. No rant needed. I just trust what you have to say. Well, we're going to talk about a lot today on the Shannon Joy Show. You see the headline, After Babel. Are we at the precipice of modern utopia or a technofascist hellscape? And this is as AI, data centers, flock cameras, surveillance are sweeping the nation, but there's a ton of pushback. There is a very real and organic bipartisan pushback to tech, to AI, to the build out of the technofascist surveillance system here in the US. It's Democrats, it's Republicans, it's young and old. In fact, some of the biggest resistance that we're seeing against the smartphones and technology and social media and AI, it's coming from young people, Gen Z. I have a great piece that we're going to look at today. It's from the New York Times, interestingly enough, two companion pieces. The first is a New York Times Magazine interactive. The question is there life after smartphones? And a piece entitled, Why Some Young People Are Ditching Their Smartphones for Dumb Phones, Flip Phones, and Other Low-Tech Devices. And a great piece. that was dropped in the spring of 2026 by the New York Times, but there are a lot that I've included in the show notes of the Shannon Joy Show today. A great piece from Substack, Derek Thompson, looking at the great American AI rebellion. Here's a pull quote from his Substack, which is also linked in the show notes. The fastest growing political movement in America is dead set on stopping the construction of data centers, which are critical to the growth of the fastest growing industry in America, which is AI and tech. But as we discussed with Peter Schiff last week, no one really knows if this tech bubble, if the AI bubble is even real, because it's all involving circular trading and a lot of money printing from the federal government, hype from the tech industry. And it's having many people ask the question, is there any there? Is there any real benefit, society-changing benefit to AI? Or is it just a glorified search engine? I can tell you as a business owner, I tinker with AI just a little bit. I use Grok, and I've found over the past 6 months that I use it just a little bit, but it does satisfy certain critical needs for my business. But most of what I do, most of what is good and different and engaging and interesting about the Shannon Joy Show is the fact that I go freestyle every day. I'm not reading teleprompters. I'm not having AI write scripts for the program for me. I'm using it in a very controlled way, predominantly for commercials and overviews. And so I think that's what many American business people are beginning to understand. Large corporations, medium-sized and small, that it's not all that it was cracked up to be. It's helpful in some very narrow areas, but at the end of the day, humans always get it done better. And I think there's going to be a premium moving forward for human interaction. I would pay extra money to a company, a phone company, an energy company, an AI company, or a tech company to have human interface, to have people that I can talk to. It's one of the reasons I love Rumble. This is why I stick with Rumble. I love their creator program. I love going through their studios, even though the Rumble studios aren't as technologically savvy as some of the other ones out there. I have a whole team of human beings at Rumble that I can call up, from tech to advertising to editorial. They are available for conversation and consultation. And I think that's going to be a huge deal moving forward. I think the aesthetic and design and art and things that are handmade and organic and not mass produced are going to have a renaissance in this country. I think that as Americans seek to get out of the big cities and explore rural life, I think technology is going to help them learn how to plant and garden and live a homesteading lifestyle that is self-sufficient. I think we're going to have new and exciting developments in energy coming. And so everything can change. It doesn't have to be dystopian, but that hinges on putting technology and AI and the techno-fascist control freak lunatics who are driving this, people like Peter Thiel, Sam Altman, Howard Lutnick, Elon Musk, Donald Trump, and JD Vance, putting them in their place and getting them out of the business of ushering in a surveillance state in this country. So we have revolts against the flock cameras, revolts against the data centers. And I have whole articles here, a list of all of the recent, just in August, we have over a dozen locals taking down those flock cameras and beating back those data center projects. And it's wonderful to watch. Another pull quote from this piece, The Great American AI Rebellion, which is in the show notes of the Shannon Joy Show. Conservative Republicans and Democrats don't agree about much, but both groups of voters really detest data centers. In fact, their antipathy to data centers might be the only thing that they could strongly agree on and unite on these days, which I think could be the underpinning, the beginning of the infrastructure of the next new dominant cultural force. What a great thing for Democrats and Republicans, conservatives and liberals, to work together on something, a common initiative that embraces freedom and humanity and privacy and our God-given natural rights. How amazing is it that we might have an opportunity to get outside of the boxes, off of social media, forget about the D or the R, and find each other at town hall or city council as we stand up together to take back our communities and embrace and protect nature. I think there are so many opportunities, but there are also very, very real and very frightening risks. And that's going to be the source of our conversation today on the Shannon Joy Show. So I want to hear from all of you. Say hello to me on Twitter. Send me a post. I will read it. I love to read the Twitter posts on my commercial breaks. And if you're on Rumble right now, I want to hear from you guys. Zen Woman, that's right. Freestyling every day. No teleprompters here. No teleprompters here on the SJ Show. Hey, Mav 2022, great to see you. Bye-bye is with us today. Cotton 33, great to see you as well. Honor Seeker, you're amazing. We have Mark the Regan on the live chat. Who else do we have? Who have I missed? If you're brand new to the Shannon Joy Show, you're watching on Rumble, I would love to say hi to you. Don't be shy. Jump in. The water is warm on the live chat right here on Rumble. And you don't have to say much. Just say hello. And I would love to welcome you to the audience. Big show with Dr. Peter McCullough yesterday. Lots of bombshells. Want to encourage all of you to go back and watch that show. I'll be pulling clips later today and posting them out on socials. But we had a very important conversation about the medical freedom movement, about the health freedom movement, and the lack of movement, the lack of a reckoning or justice for those who were devastated by the COVID lockdowns and the rollout of the shots in 2020 and 21 from this administration, and tragically, Bobby Kennedy Jr. in his tenure at HHS. Now, Peter McCullough is giving him a little more rope than I would. And I want to talk about that as we begin today on the Shannon Joy Show. Very, very good piece from Embracing Tara. Her handle on Twitter is at Embracing Tara, and she is echoing my sentiment, also co-signing on this, Sasha Latapova, and I believe Mary Talley Bowden retweeted this as well. It is an open letter to Secretary Kennedy demanding his resignation, and I want to read it to you because I co-sign. I agree with her. This is not, KDS, Kennedy derangement syndrome. This has nothing to do with me liking or disliking Bobby Kennedy Jr. This is not emotional. It's just business. If you're in a political cult, sometimes they lose their minds and they don't understand that when we critique or criticize or even call for resignation, that it means, we're emotional or angry or have some type of derangement syndrome. That's not the case. I'm just looking, we are 2 years into this administration. And at this point, I think that we are dangerously close to moving backwards rather than advancing the agenda, at least the political agenda of the medical freedom movement. And I think that she has some very important points, and I agree with her. So we're going to look at that in a moment. Before we get into the nuts and bolts in the body of today's show, I have some great videos for you, right? Do you remember life before the smartphone, life before the internet, the 70s, the 80s, even the childhood of the 90s, right? That was completely free from the handheld devices, the screens, social media, the World Wide Web, and the internet. And one of the themes in social media today, and something that my own kids have embraced, is a desperate yearning for the nostalgia of childhood in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. My kids talk about it all the time. And they also understand, it is a conversation that we have with them, but they bring it up. They understand how dangerous these screens are. And I think that's why that New York Times piece is really important. Young people, thank you, Jesus, are understanding how dangerous, how devastating, how addictive, like drugs, the screens and social media can be. And they're beginning to monitor themselves. And some of them are chucking them completely in favor of low-tech devices, low-tech cameras, flip phones, and other, low-tech variations. It's very exciting to watch. And I have some great videos that I pulled from Twitter that harken back to that nostalgia. So I have something for everyone. The 70s, the 80s, and the 90s. We're going to look at all of it. And you guys are going to love these videos. So we're going to get into it today. Opossum King is with us today. No. You cannot be serious right now. Larry Loomer, aka Laura Loomer, is the new spokesperson for the Trump administration. Please tell me this is some type of AI deepfake or fake news. It's the Babylon Bee. It's a spoof. This cannot be real. Is it a rumor, Opossum King? I don't know. Someone pop it up in the live chat. Laura Loomer is crazy. Buskman, I can operate a rotary telephone. That is a real skill. Unbelievable. Hey, Mav 2023, great to see you. Trump on the data centers. You can't fight it. You just have to go with it. Well, no, that's not the case, according to some of the articles that I have here in the Shannon Joy show notes. Americans are raging against the flock cameras in the data centers, and they're winning. I have a piece here. And this is where AI is really useful. I just asked Grok to pull up the most recent, in like the past 2 weeks, examples of data centers crashing and burning as citizens and localities rage against them. They are absolutely destroying this initiative, and it is amazing to watch. So listen up, Donald Trump. That's not the case. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. This is just an overview. As of mid-August, cities, towns, and counties have successfully blocked, canceled, or permanently restricted data center projects through votes, moratoriums, legal challenges, electoral pressure, and developer withdrawals. So they're running the developers out, often driven, obviously, by concerns over power, water use, noise, cost, and local impact. Over 500 U.S. jurisdictions have enacted bans or severe restrictions, with 150 or more in July 26 alone. And more than 50 projects were canceled in 2026 by late July due to local pushback, more than double the pace of 225, which was extraordinary. And so Calvert County, Oakville, Ontario, Canada, Prince William County, Virginia, Monterey Park, California, Seattle, Washington, and in New York State, even here, the one time I'm going to agree with Kathy Hochul, Executive Order 62 on July 14, 2026, she froze environmental permits for data centers of 50 megawatts or larger for 1 year, the first statewide action of its kind. And Texas is now looking at related steps as well. Let's go. Let's go, you guys. This is awesome. Make humans great again. I agree with you, Buskman. So Donald Trump can say whatever he wants from the bully pulpit in the Oval Office, but the American people have something else to say. And I have a similar breakdown on the rage against the flock cameras as well, and surveillance cameras in general. A lot of pieces being pushed out on socials recently, which I think are very important, educating Americans on the fact that it's not just flock cameras. Flock is the company that is getting the most pushback and organizational pushback. But there are many other surveillance cameras, types of surveillance cameras that are going up in towns and villages across the US. And so we have to be looking at all of them. But the revolt against flock is the beginning of the revolution, and I am here for it. Green Tea 369, so great to see you. Shannon, what exactly do you think Trump would replace RFK with? Of course, Kennedy is muzzled, but at least he's not on the Pfizer payroll, which is what we'd get to replace RFK. Tragically, Green Tea, I think that Bobby Kennedy Jr. in some way might be on the Pfizer payroll. If not blatantly, there is something going on with him. And why don't we start there with this piece from Tara, Embracing Tara, which has been co-signed by Sasha Latapova and I believe Mary Telly Bowden as well. And we'll get into it. Green Tea, I'll give you her justification. There's a debate raging right now. Do we cut bait and exit, right? Do we rip the Band-Aid off, understand that Bobby Kennedy Jr., though he might have been good on some things in the first 20 years of his career, building up a movement to take down these vaccine mandates, to take down the lack of informed consent, pharmaceutical liability protection, and all the things. We can't ever take away from him the importance of what he did in those 20 years, pushing out this information and building the movement, right? But at some point, we have to look at his track record in HHS and wonder if it is now time to move on. And quite frankly, I think that Bobby Kennedy Jr. would be way more powerful on the outside than he is on the inside. I think he's doing way more damage on the inside than he could do from the outside. So really, Green T69, what I'm embracing is a rescue mission. Let's rescue and emancipate Bobby Kennedy Jr. by demanding his resignation so that he can come back out on the outside and go like full tilt against this administration, which what is going to need to happen as they roll out the new Operation 2.0, retrofitting or recreating every vaccine on the schedule, childhood and adult, with new mRNA technologies, which are even more deadly than the vaccines of the past. And that's what the Trump administration is pedal to the metal on in their new mRNA, Operation Warp Speed 2.0. We need Bobby Kennedy Jr., but we need his voice, in my opinion, from the outside. And I think he could do a lot more from the outside. CJP Rumble, they neuter you when you're on the inside. I agree. I mean, look what happened to poor Dan Bongino. I mean, the guy, when you talk about getting neutered, I mean, come on, right? Everyone that goes in, they get neutered. They get cut off at the knees. So LT Oracle of Truth, his first action was to declare a state of health emergency against antiseptics. KC1212, hey Shannon, I've been getting a kick out of your Facebook content. The Metallica video. I have the Metallica video. Casey, it's your lucky day. Not only did I post that video on my Facebook page and on the twit, I have it here for you today, hearkening back to the summer of the 90s. I grew up in the 90s. I was in middle school and high school in the 90s. I graduated in 95. And what we did in the summers, it's hilarious, absolutely hilarious. And so I am going to play that for you, Casey. You guys are going to love it. 70s, 80s, and 90s. CJP Rumble, you're just going to have to wait. You're just going to have to wait. And I do love hard rock and roll. Like, I do love metal. You might not know it looking at me, but Back in Black by AC/DC is my all-time #1 favorite album ever in the history of the world. And then Jar of Flies by Alice in Chains. I don't know. I like hard rock. And I like 90s rock. I like grunge, all the things. I know. Poor Dan Bongino. I think the guy's worth over 150 million. Future has, I don't care about money. Like, I never, ever envy people like Elon Musk and all of these like uber rich billionaires, people, Dan Bongino, 150 million. I think these people are miserable. Most of the really, really, really rich people that I know are really unhappy people. I'm just going to say, and they're weird and they're worried that everyone wants to take their money and they're irritated with everyone because people ask them for money. And I just don't think they live the happiest lives. Like, I certainly love making money. I like doing deals. I like running a successful business. I like being creative and creating the show and the studio and all the things. And, I'm not against earning money and making money, but honest to God, I'm telling you, like, cross my heart, I really have no desire to be a multimillionaire at all. I pray for just enough. The Lord knows what we need and he delivers. And yes. Yeah, Swavek, that is the thing. I really think not everyone, I don't want to say this about everyone, but I do believe that the vast majority of people who aspire to the uber rich, like the 1%, like hundreds of millions of dollars, billions of dollars, and in the case of Elon Musk, $1 trillion. I do believe that most, not all, but most, in order to acquire that amount of money, they really do have to sell their souls to the devil in a lot of ways. They have to make accommodations. They have to give up some of their moral compass and their principles in order to catapult to that next echelon. And that's just something I don't ever want to do, ever. I mean, people will say, well, what would you do for $1 million, $1 billion, $1 trillion? I don't know, but I don't think I would do anything for that. Buskman, I would have loved to see you in the 1970s and 80s. I guarantee that Buskman had the best hair of the 80s. I know that you rocked the feather mullet. I'm positive that you rocked that feather mullet. I think I rocked a feather mullet. I did. I had a rat tail too. Who here had a rat tail? This girl. It was a bad one. It was a bad one, the 70s and the 80s. So we're going to look at some of those videos today on the SJ show. We're going to look at some of these pieces. I am featuring a phenomenal new Substack that I love as well. And this is in the intro of the SJ show. CJP Rumble had a rat tail. Love it. Love it. Jonathan Haidt is a renowned social psychologist. He wrote the book, The Coddling of the American Mind, and other great works. And he is the curator of an amazing Substack that inspired the title of today's show. After Babel is the name of his Substack. The question, are we at the precipice of modern utopia or a techno-fascist hellscape? I think we can go either way. I think we can meet somewhere in the middle. But his Substack, After Babel, takes its name from the biblical story of the Tower of Babel and the moment when humanity's grand project, right? The all-seeing eye, perfect knowledge, perfect language, collapsed into mutual incomprehension. He uses this as a metaphor for the chaos of the 2010s, the loss of common stories, the rise of performative outrage, the epidemic of anxiety, especially among children, depression among Gen Z, and the erosion of liberal democracy under algorithms designed to keep us scrolling and shouting, anxious, fearful, and divided. Really, really great work by Jonathan Haidt. And I linked you to a couple of his pieces after Babel about the Substack, also why you should be a techno skeptic, a recent talk from his Substack, another piece from digital detoxes to flip phones, why Gen Z is turning anti-tech. This is from the Beacon Journal. So this is exciting, guys. What's happening with tech is scary. We don't need to reject all of it. We do need to push back against those who would like to disguise technology or disguise fascism and surveillance fascism with technology, justify the build out of a fascist surveillance state with the war, the AI arms race with China. They're liars. And this is not about winning an AI war against China. This is not about helping humans flourish. This is about gaining power, a cheap and vicious power grab and land grab and wealth grab from the American people as they decimate our infrastructure, our society, our culture, our towns, our villages, our economy, and our bodies through the new mRNA technology, right? All of that tech is aimed directly at us, and that is the bad version of it. So yeah, these are going to be the discussions that we're going to be having over the next couple years, and I am definitely here for it. So let's do this first. Hey, Mac Glitman, great to see you. If you're watching right now on Rumble, please give the show a thumbs up and share it with everyone you know. Texas Gal Forever, I'm turning anti-tech now. Data number 6 in the work, or data center number 6 in the works for the county I work in. So yeah, don't want that. Coddling of the American Mind, a must read. Devastatingly Handsome Dr. Joy. As you guys know, my husband is a licensed New York State psychologist, a school psychologist, and he has a practice. He works with a lot of young kids, adolescents, He does not advocate prescribing any drugs whatsoever, pharmaceuticals whatsoever. And the coddling of the American mind has really impacted my husband and his work and the way that he looks at helping kids. And so this is a great, great book, and I highly, highly recommend it. And I'm going to work on getting Jonathan Haidt on the program as well. So let's just revisit though this discussion that is raging within the medical freedom community about Bobby Kennedy Jr. and his tenure at HHS and the failures of his administration and HHS. And we should not sugarcoat this. Even if you like Bobby Kennedy Jr., this is about the data. It's about discernible policy outcome. This is not about emotion or loyalty or trusting the plan or hoping and praying or believing that this is a baby step or the first step or part of the 12-dimensional chess. All of that is wishful thinking, hopeful thinking. It's not rooted in reality. What we need to look at is discernible policy outcome. And an executive order by the President of the United States of America with no teeth, no claws, no discernible policy outcome, just promises, celebrated by the medical freedom community needlessly, is not what we need in terms of reform. And so I believe that Bobby Kennedy Jr. should step down from HHS mainly because I think he could do better work from outside. But embracing Tara, I mean, she pulled no punches. Her op-ed is linked in the show notes of the Shannon Joy Show. And this is what she stated in her open letter, which is going viral. Dear Secretary Kennedy, she's demanding his resignation. In August of 2024, while everyone else was endorsing Trump at your behest because you deceived them that you were going to hold vaccine manufacturers accountable, I saw exactly what was happening. From day one, the day you led your followers astray and told them to trust the proud father of the vaccine, I knew you had been compromised. I knew that by aligning yourself with Trump, you would only advance Big Pharma's agenda and the medical industrial complex. Even though you swore to make America healthy again, I knew that absolutely nothing would be done about the COVID vaccine or any other vaccine except minuscule pacification tactics, that you would never make manufacturers liable or challenge Big Pharma in any way. I knew when you took the hard pivot from vaccine accountability straight into Fruit Loops. I tried to warn people, but you deceived them into believing their guy was going to get in there and change the game, get in there and influence Trump. But you didn't change the game, writes embracing Tara in an open letter on Twitter. You didn't change the game, you played the game, and you played it for Trump and for yourself. And you played the health freedom movement and vaccine injured in the process. You once called the COVID vaccine mass murder. Now you call Operation Warp Speed an extraordinary accomplishment and the COVID vaccine genius. You even recommend COVID vaccines to the most vulnerable populations, babies and children and pregnant mothers. How do you reconcile this? She asks. How do you stomach it? Asks embracing Tara in this open letter. She goes on. You have publicly and repeatedly stated that your loyalty is to President Trump, not the movement, not MAHA, not medical freedom, not the truth, not safety, not the wellness of children and making them happy and making them healthy. His loyalty is to President Trump, the father of the COVID mRNA kill shots, who to this day supports them, promotes them, and calls them his greatest achievement. My words, not Tara's. Since working for Trump, you have not only promoted wearable devices that upload citizens' health data into real-time databases, defended Trump's glyphosate executive order as a matter of national security, stood behind the CEO of Pfizer smiling while more big pharma deals were being made, recommended the MMR and blamed religious groups for the disease, and have also remained radio silent on the new mRNA vaccine rollouts, which is critical. She said that the problem here is that Bobby Kennedy Jr. is helping Trump expand the rollout of deadly mRNA technologies and not rolling them back at all. This is why this is worse. It is worse having him in proximity of Trump in Washington, D.C., than it would be having him outside, because we could battle this more effectively with leadership from the outside, in my opinion. Most glaringly, writes Embracing Tara in this open letter, you have refused to pick up the pen and amend the PrEP Act declarations to revoke liability protections from COVID manufacturers. You have the authority to do this, Bobby Kennedy Jr., but choose not to use it. This is after claiming you allegedly prayed for the authority to hold big pharma accountable. You willfully became a Trojan horse, betraying the health freedom movement, stating that your agenda was to restore trust in vaccines, not to hold big pharma accountable or liable. You threw the vaccine injured under the bus for dye-free Fruit Loops and tallow fries. You climbed over the backs of the very children you once pretended to champion, only to supply and recommend the same vaccines that injured them in the first place. These are hard truths from Embracing Tara in this open letter to Bobby Kennedy Jr. I can't disagree with any of this so far. She goes on, everything I predicted about you has come to pass. Your inaction on the COVID jabs, complicit silence on the mRNA flu shot, continued protection of big pharma, and blind loyalty to Trump has come true. You are not being sidelined. You are a very willing participant. You are 100% complicit in the complete abandonment of your principles. A man who betrays himself and abandons his own fight will betray and abandon anyone. What others call strategy, 5G or five-dimensional chess or baby steps, I recognize as opportunism, the total abandonment of principle, and the complete betrayal of the movement you purported to represent. She said, resign, Secretary Kennedy, resign now, step down from HHS. Stop the humiliation ritual, stop the loyalty oaths, the promotion of vaccines, the protection of liability shields, the glaring silence on the new mRNA flu vaccine, and the recommendation of the very products you once called mass murder. It is gaslighting. Stop pretending, she says, that busy work, cooking shows, and doing push-ups with Kid Rock and saunas is about making America healthy again when you continue to be fully complicit in Big Pharma's liability-free and deadly profit machine. Embracing Tara says the blood is on your hands and will never wash clean until you resign and repent. That is a very, very clear statement. Much of it I cannot disagree with. Now, I don't deign to know what is happening within the heart of Bobby Kennedy Jr. I don't know why he's doing this. I don't know if he is knowledgeable about his complicity. I don't know if this is something he ponders. I don't know if this is something he's doing personally. I haven't had conversations, and so I wouldn't go as far as she's going, but I do think at the very least that his time, his tenure, his stay at HHS needs to end, because at this point, I agree with her. He's doing more harm than good in pushing the big lie and being complicit in it. Slavik, I am confused. Was RFK Jr. involved in the mRNA kill shots? Yes, Slavik, he is directly involved. His administration under HHS is recommending mRNA shots, the COVID shots, to the most vulnerable populations, children and women in the US. And his HHS is allowing the FDA to approve a whole new slew of mRNA shots. The most recent, the Flu-Siva, the Moderna mRNA version of the flu shot that happened just a week ago. And so it is under his tenure. He has an enormous amount of power to stop that. The most power he has is to roll back the liability protection from the PrEP Act, and he's refused to do that as well. So yes, he is absolutely at this point, tragically and sadly, heavily involved in pushing out mRNA shots and very, very comfortable. He knows, they all know, that children and babies will be sacrificed and pregnant women and their pregnancies will be sacrificed. They know that. They know that a certain percentage of people who take those shots, to the tunes of tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, will die and be very seriously injured. And they are quite comfortable with those statistics. They know it. And somehow they're trying to convince us and themselves that this serves a greater good. It's not okay. And I can't get past it. And we shouldn't get past it, right? We should put aside our emotions, put aside our loyalty, put aside the benefit of the doubt for these people. They are in positions of great power, and they are also becoming insanely wealthy, set for life. They owe us an explanation, and we should not give them passes ever. And I would say that about Biden. I would say that about Democrats, Fauci, Bobby Kennedy Jr., Trump. I am bipartisan in this analysis, as you all know. So what are your thoughts about that? I think that this letter is quite scathing and quite accurate. Future Ez, from this letter, it sounds like we won't be able to vote our way out of this mess. Thank you, Future Ez. This is what I've been saying for a very, very long time. Voting, Washington, D.C., politicians, HHS, presidents, political parties, they are not going to save us. We need to change our culture, and we need to revolt from the outside in through our non-compliance, civil disobedience, refusal to comply, and refusal to lend our consent. And we're already doing it. 93% of the American population is rejecting and refusing COVID-19 mRNA boosters. Those are the latest stats. 500 plus data center projects have been torpedoed in towns and villages across the country. This is outside in resistance, not waiting for DC politicians and the vulture ruling class in DC to somehow see the light, find Jesus, repent, and fix the problems that they've already created. That's insane thinking. Anyone who believes that people who have secured power and money and wealth in DC are somehow going to reform themselves, it's crazy. It's not going to happen. And the sooner we rip that Band-Aid off as the American people, the sooner we can move towards a new future, a future that looks a little more like the 70s, 80s, and 90s, right? That puts technology in its place and also our politicians and the uniparty political ruling class. Slavek, great to see you. LT, Oracle of Truth, great to see you as well. And Buskman. All right, let's go to, Brooklyn Gal 123, paying no attention to the EOs. They'll all be reversed under the next administration anyway and are unconstitutional, right? I don't like EOs to begin with, okay, because they are the equivalent of a quasi-dictatorship, and I don't like that, okay? Anyway, we're going to take a break, all right? So I wanted to get that out there. If you want to look at this open letter and retweet it, co-sign it, or debate it, feel free. I've linked it in the show notes of the Shannon Joy Show. Thank you to Embracing Tara. I agree with many, many, many of your sentiments here. And you can follow Tara on her Twitter account at Embracing Tara. She got it right from the very beginning, and for that deserves a follow, I think, from all of us. Let us take a commercial break. When we come back, we're going to get into the topic of the day and the title of the show today. We are going to look at the Great American AI Data Center Flock Camera Rebellion. And we're going to harken back to a simpler time. Why so many young people are revolting against technology and social media, smartphones, and embracing older technologies. I love it. I'm here for it. And I love that young people are getting involved in this as well. So we're going to cover that when we come back right here on the Shannon Joy Show. All right, make sure that every time you shop at the satellite phone store, sat123.com/joy, that is sat123.com/joy, you are using the JOY promo code. That is going to get you at least 10% off your entire order. And if you're looking at products like generators or solar panels, if you're looking at a satellite phone and you're going to get a satellite phone subscription, those could be upwards over thousands of dollars. So that 10% discount is going to be huge. But they do have the entire line of Faraday products, the dark bags. So these are amazing. The Faraday technology not only protects you from harmful EMF radiation, but it also protects your phone from an EMP attack or any type of breakdown. So great products. The Faraday collection also shields you, protects you from the prying eyes of the federal government or the big tech bros. That's right. When you drop your phone or your device into a satellite phone store Faraday bag or backpack, you're off the grid. You are untraceable. They can't find you. And it gives you that added element of privacy while also protecting you from those harmful EMF radiation rays. So just really great technology, the best out there, and at the best prices when you use that JOY promo code. So sat123.com/joy. That is sat123.com/joy. The Bank of Japan and the Federal Reserve just flinched, signaling that gold and silver are the only hedge left for wealth protection. This is the topic of a brilliant zero hedge piece, which I recently reviewed in a Substack article, which is linked in the show notes of the Shannon Joy Show. Something big just happened in the markets, and it could change everything. Japan's yen has collapsed to its weakest level against the dollar in 4 decades. After years of printing money and keeping rates near zero, the cheap funding that fueled the famous yen carry trade is drying up. Japanese investors and global funds are now selling U.S. stocks and bonds to bring that money home. Both stocks and bonds are getting hit at the same time, and yields are climbing. So here in the United States, newly appointed Fed Chair Kevin Warsh tried to hold the line and talk about resilience. The markets weren't buying it. The Dow dropped hard, longer-term yields jumped, and Warsh himself admitted that the bond market is starting to set higher rates because people no longer fully trust the government IOUs. With nearly $40 trillion in national debt and $3 billion a day going to just the interest payments, higher borrowing costs leave only one real option: more money printing, more debasement of the dollar, and that's exactly why physical gold and silver are so important right now. While paper assets get squeezed by rising yields and fading confidence, precious metals quietly protect the purchasing power families have worked so hard to build. Now is the time to consider physical gold and silver as a critical hedge. The Shannon Joy Show sponsor and regular contributor, Peter Schiff, has been warning about this debt imprint path for years. He's been clear, he's been consistent, and I highly recommend his team if you have questions about metals. Visit schiffgold.com/joy for competitively priced physical gold and silver, live support for information on gold-backed IRAs, and tons of resources on these emerging markets. Do not wait for the next wave of debasement. Lock in now and make sure you tell them that Shannon Joy sent you. Schiffgold.com/joy. That is schiffgold.com/joy.
In the 1970s, our parents did things that today would get a knock on the door from Child Protective Services. And we turned out mostly fine. Let's begin with the car. There were no car seats, there were no seat belts, or if there were, nobody used them. You rode in the way back of the station wagon, facing traffic, waving at strangers, rolling around like laundry. And Mom's safety system? Her right arm flung across your chest at every stop sign. That was the airbag. Sunscreen? Never heard of her. You went outside at 8 a.m. and came back at dark the color of a catcher's mitt, and that was called a good summer. Speaking of dark, the one rule: be home when the streetlights come on. No phone, no GPS. Your parents had no idea where you were for 10 hours, and they did not lose 1 minute of sleep over it. You drank from the garden hose. You ate dinner at the neighbor's house, and nobody called ahead. You rode your bike with no helmet, off a plywood ramp, over your friend, and the only medical treatment was your mother licking her thumb and wiping your face. If you misbehaved, any adult on the block was authorized to correct you, and then they'd tell your mother, and you'd get it again at home. Double jeopardy did not apply. You played with lawn darts, actual metal spears, for fun. You handled fireworks at age 7, and somehow, against all odds, here we all are. We didn't have safety. We had freedom, skinned knees, and a whole neighborhood raising us. And honestly, we wouldn't trade it. Follow for more of the childhood that somehow didn't kill us.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Shannon Joy Show. Yes, I have more where that came from. If you like that, we have the 80s. We have the 90s. I have it all for you today on the SJ Show. As we rage against the machines, how possibly did we all survive without social media and AI, technology, the smartphones, right? That was a real childhood. And it is so fun for me to watch our kids embrace this. I have a story to tell you all about my son, Teddy. This year, he is my last remaining child. I'm shipping 2 off to college. Teddy's 14 years old, and this summer he discovered a place called the Islands. The Islands exist somewhere on the Erie Canal. I live in a tiny little village in New York State, right on the Erie Canal, and somehow these boys of all ages, and now girls, and even kids from the other schools, have found the Islands, which is a series of rope nets, rope swings, and trees from which they climb onto and jump off of into the Erie Canal. They've been starting fires. They've been roasting weenies. He has spent all day, every day with his friends somewhere in Fairport. And it's been amazing. At first, devastatingly handsome Dr. Joy was like, where is he? What's he doing? He's spending all his time over at the Islands. What is this Islands place? This is so terrible. I'm like, babe, this is the best thing that could ever happen to him. Like, he's outside. He is doing kind of dangerous things, and I am here for it. Luckily, my kids, they did grow up in the AI, smartphone, social media generation, but we did as much as we could. They had a tree house and a tree fort. We lived in a village, and there were hordes of boys, shirtless, no shoes, playing football in the front yard. And so they were able to they went fishing on the canal. And so we were able to give them that type of childhood, but we need to embrace that again. This idea that everyone has to be on a phone at all times. Every kid has to be scheduled and monitored and entertained and kept busy at all times with structure and organization. I do think we need to just push these kids out and let them live, let them get dirty, let them, bruise their knees and skin their knees and get out there. And so for those of you thinking that it still doesn't exist, I'm here to tell you today that somewhere in New York State on the Erie Canal, there are a bunch of kids living that kind of life, and they're living it at the Islands. And let's do more of it. Suavect, I kept my boys busy, soccer, tennis, and volleyball. Same Suavect, we have kept our kids very busy. In fact, the past 2 or 3 weeks have been the less structured weeks for Teddy, and it's been pretty great. Guitar Lily, Second Chance, always had holes in my pants. Guitar Lily, cap guns, yes. Texas Gal Forever, riding trash can lids, being pulled down in the ditch behind a horse. Mini bikes, it's great. I love it. Gaelic Monkey. Nothing will change until we rise in millions and stop voting. Local elections are no better. City commissions, all paid and bought. Hey, maybe that's the case, Gaelic Monkey. I'm all for it. I love the idea of just withdrawing our consent and refusing to comply. Green Tea 369, metal slides. Oh man, do you remember how hot those metal slides were on the playground? Those playgrounds, by the way, were death traps. I mean, they were 40 feet high, like multi-storied, all wood. You got splinters everywhere. And it's great. Zamal 777, I grew up in the 70s. It was brilliant compared to now. We are in an open prison in some ways, yes. Buskman, man, I miss those days. I think everyone does. I think that's the clue to our society that something is very wrong. I think it's a clue to our society and our culture that we have to pivot. Everybody wants it. See, we look at that with nostalgia. We want that. Our kids want that, but they find it difficult to do that because, quite frankly, they're addicted to their phones. And it is a true addiction. Linked in the show notes of the Shannon Joy Show is a New York Times article titled, Why Some Young People Are Ditching Their Smartphones for Dumb Phones, Flip Phones, and other low-tech devices. And the piece explores a growing resistance movement of young people, mostly Gen Z and young millennials, who grew up with smartphones and are now deliberately switching to dumb phones or flip phones. These limited devices handle only calls and texts, and they strip away the endless notifications, the access to social media, the maps, the cameras, and the apps. The article in the New York Times frames this as a collective fever breaking of this generation who have just been immersed in this. They've grown up with this. How many babies and toddlers do you see in restaurants or airports or public places who are glued to a screen, right? That does something to your brain. It damages some of those brain functions. And this piece lays that out. Also, Jonathan Haidt and his Substack about Babel. What is it? Here it is. Let me find that really quickly. Yes, it is After Babel. He's a psychologist, and he goes deeply into what this technology does to the psychology of young people, inducing extreme amounts of anxiety and also severe depression. And so this piece in the New York Times follows a couple different kids. One that they feature is a young man named Shawan Keen. He is in his late 20s, a Wisconsin native. And his story is I think very typical of many young Americans. He got his first smartphone at 17, which is interesting. Most kids get their smartphones now at 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? 11, 12. I mean, they're getting him younger and younger. He got his at 17. He said it transformed his self-image via social media like Tumblr and Instagram. He became deeply addicted, scrolling constantly, posting dozens of stories daily, treating the phone as his portfolio and also an emotional crutch. He had a breaking point at one point on a family vacation and felt that he needed to make a change, that he had given a part of himself away. So he tried partial fixes like deleting apps and setting up schedules and putting it away. And that could potentially work for some people. But he found that ditching the phone and controlling his access to the social media and the technology was akin to getting off of drugs. He was addicted, and it was like going into detox and going off of drugs. And he found that the only way that worked for him was to ditch it completely and go to the flip phone. He was inspired by a local friend who did the same thing. And they go ahead and feature stories of a variety of young kids. But the scale of the problem is there. Teen smartphones and their access to them has risen from 23 to 37% around 211 and 212 to 95% by 2024. So the average US teen is spending 5 or more hours a day on social media, some more. So we're seeing a lot of pushback here in New York State. The New York State Department of Education has banned smartphones and access to smartphones in public schools across the state, which again, I can't believe it. Two thumbs up for New York State. We get a lot wrong, but in that case, I completely agree with it. And we're seeing things like that happen across the country, which I think is very, very, very good. CJP Rumble, I was much happier with my flip phone pre-pandemic. Don't disagree. I would love to think about living the flip phone life. I'm really interested in it. And I want to get some experts on the program to talk about that, because there are a couple Substacks out there that talk about living in this world. It is a technological world, but having a very real guardrails. You don't have to be Amish, you don't have to be Mennonite, but we can begin to embrace humanity and take back this part of our lives that have been stolen from us by social media and access to the internet. So Zen woman, I went to visit family and the internet was out the whole day. They went crazy. Second chance, no more smartphones, smash them. Yes, be my Valentine, a light phone. I would like a flip phone. I do like the mapping. Maps are nice. I like regular maps, but oh my gosh, remember how you used to ask for directions? I used to drive. The first time I ever did a road trip, I drove to see my sister in Grove City College in Pennsylvania. It was a 5-hour drive. I was 17 years old, maybe 16. I drove the family minivan by myself, got lost, and had to stop at gas stations and convenience stores to ask for directions to get to where I went. Like, that's how we got places. We wrote directions down on the back of an envelope. I used to drive to New York City. Imagine that. My girlfriend Jackie in college lived in Long Island, and I would have to drive through New York City and into Long Island without GPS, using directions on the back of an envelope. I kid you not. That's what we did. It's good. It gets you engaging with humans. It works the brain. Like, all of these things are good. They're good. CJP Rumble, now I get notification anxiety. Absolutely. Zen woman, I followed the signs. Signs are good. Dino Fun, I do use smartphones to check Facebook for political posts, plus post pictures online. I also use it to write online novels. Come on, Dino Fun, you're messing with me. But you don't use YouTube or go for that. Too much data. I can't stand Facebook these days. I hate Facebook. I hate it. It's so many ads. A lot of it is like, everything is so programmed algorithmically. I don't know what is coming into my feed. I'm hating Twitter lately as well. X has been really difficult. Loving Substack, loving Rumble, as I told you. One of the reasons I stick with Rumble and I broadcast from the Rumble studios, and I will, is because Rumble has embraced human interface. You cannot get a human being at Twitter. You cannot get a human being at Facebook. People are building their businesses and their platform on these platforms with absolutely zero human interface whatsoever. And it's crazy. Everything is AI. Everything is via email. And it's unbelievable. And so this is why I love Rumble and what they're doing. I don't love this about Substack. It's hard to get a human at Substack as well. But the Substack interface, it's built for writers and thinkers and intellectuals. And so it's just such a lovely, such an elegant platform. And it doesn't scream at you the way that some of these other social media platforms. Oh my gosh, TikTok, Instagram couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. LT Oracle of Truth on family trips. I sat in the front seat because I was the map expert. I love maps of all kinds. So yes, this New York Times article is really good. But yeah, this is what they're doing. They're using physical maps. So these kids are ditching the smartphones. They're ditching social media. They're using physical maps, CD and Walkman style players, paper planners, filofaxes, notebooks for contact info, film cameras, pepper spray for safety, okay, physical passkeys and authenticator alternatives, monochrome or ultra basic phones, Nokia Light Phone or Kia Sarah. Interested. The benefits they're reporting: more intentional listening, reading, deeper conversations and thought, less emotional reactivity in daily life and in text, greater presence and openness to strangers, reduced doom scrolling, disgust, and anxiety. Now they say that there are problems here. There are harder logistics, boarding passes, group chats, banking navigation, social friction in smartphone-centric worlds. So and this is what my friends say. Like my daughter would say, my entire social life is on my phone, right? These group chats and these group texts and that type of thing. And so keeping up with their friends is more difficult, and you could face social isolation when you embrace this, which is harder, I think, for younger kids and kids in high school. But I think as they get older and you choose your friend groups and you're deliberate with that, you can begin to really embrace groups that also share those values. I know that my own mom, my mom, my mother's husband, severely injured by 5G tower, debilitating tinnitus, so bad that they had to move to the country. So they are completely off of phones. They're completely off of smartphones. They don't have any electronic devices in their home. And Rich can't tolerate them. But my mom, I mean, the stories that she tells about how difficult it is to make a doctor's appointment, to book a flight, to stay in communication with people when you are not interfacing with technology all day. She's like, Shannon, it's a completely different world. She said, people don't understand how addicted they are to these screens. And I completely agree with her. And I think this is why we really have to push back when we are asked to do everything online, when we are required in order to participate in this or that or the other thing. We should be pushing back and saying, you know what? We need an analog version of this. There has to be an analog way to book a flight, an analog way to sign up for a sporting event, an analog way to buy a movie ticket or to get a bus pass. And so I think those are the things that we're going to have to begin to continue to look at as we move forward. But we shouldn't just be sitting back and letting this wash over us, right? We shouldn't accept Donald Trump saying, you got to get over this and accept the data centers, the surveillance state, the AI, the flock camera, and all the things, because you can't resist it. Resistance is futile. Screw you, Donald Trump. We should be pushing back against Elon Musk when he says robots are going to do everything and end human, ingenuity and human flourishing, and that we should all be on his ridiculous universal basic income, which will basically be poverty. We should not be allowing them to dominate this conversation and tell us the way things are going to be regarding technology in the 21st century. We, the people, the culture, needs to push back and say, no, 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 no. This is not the way it's going to be. We're going to decide how often our kids are on screens. We're going to set up systems locally, statewide, nationwide to help human flourishing and allow for people to exist in a world that doesn't have to be dominated by tech and social media. There's no reason we can't do this. There's no reason we can't do this. Second chance, F the data centers, 100%. Skillful Lark, great to see you. Yeah, so what do you guys think about all this? What do you think about where this is going? A lot of people, at least in conservative media or who understand the techno-fascist police state, are very depressed right now. They think it's inevitable. They think that this is where everything is going. There's nothing that we can do to resist. I really want to push back against that. And this is why I bring you all of these stories about dozens of flock cameras and flock camera systems in dozens of states have been defeated and pushed back. They're being taken down just in the past 2 weeks. Data centers, same story. Young people, Gen Z, ditching all of these technologies for analog and dumb tech. I bring you these stories so that you know that this is what's happening in the culture at large. Not what Elon says is going to happen, or Sam Altman says is going to happen, or Howard Lutnick says is going to happen, or Peter Thiel. Screw them. They're not the boss of us. They're not elected officials. And even if they were elected officials, they're still not the boss of us, right? We still have free agency. We still have sovereignty. We still have rights, people, right to privacy, right? Right to exist in a society, pursue happiness, and not be locked into a system dominated by technocrats and techno-fascists. So let's say more of this stuff. Let's push this out. Let's never say that this is inevitable ever again, or else we're not going to get the summers of the 70s and the 80s and the 90s back. We're going to forget that. And we don't want to forget that because we know it's good. We know it's good. So we're going to take a quick break, and then I want to hear from all of you. I am going to check in. Actually, by the way, I want to say hello to everyone who's watching on Twitter right now. You guys are awesome. I'm going to be checking the live chats in the break. If you're watching on YouTube right now, thank you for joining us today. Leave your comments, your questions. I'm going to read some of those from YouTube when we come back from the commercial break. But this is from Ana Fuentes. Great to see you. She agrees that Robert Kennedy Jr. should resign. Ana Fuentes on Twitter, thank you for commenting on Twitter. Everyone who comments on Twitter gets a follow back from me. So I am super proud to follow Ana Fuentes on the twit. Data Guy Florida, great to see you. Thank you for your comment. Do you trust the people in charge of implementation of technology? If you don't, it'll be a hellscape. That's right. It's the people, not the technology. It's the people behind it who are pushing the techno-fascist surveillance state. That's what we should oppose. And then let's take the elements of technology that we like, that are good for humans. So Data Guy in Florida, appreciate you. You get a follow too on Twitter. Hey, Exercise, great to see you on Twitter as well. Good points. So strange. Get in the kitchen. High school cheerleading is over. Okay, whatever that is. I'm not going to follow you because I think that is I think it's a dig. Or maybe I'll follow you anyway. I'll follow you. There you go. I don't mind if people disagree with me. So thank you for those of you who are following on Twitter right now. Retweet the SJ Show. Leave a comment. I'll check it again in the commercial break. I have more videos for you guys. Childhood in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. I have a great video for you coming up. If you like Metallica, this is what we did in the 90s. This video is hilarious. I'm going to play it for you when we come back. But this is what kids in the 90s did because they were bored. Because our parents kicked us out of the house, or our parents weren't there. They were out working. We were at home with the camcorder. And the crap we did with those camcorders, you are just going to love this. So when we come back, we're going to look at some more videos, nostalgic videos from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. And let's harken back to humanity, what it was like. Let's put technology in its place. I'll get some comments from all of you on the Rumble live chat. But if you're on the YouTube live chat right now, I'm going to check it out on the commercial break. So make sure that you keep it tuned right here. We'll be back in a minute on the Shannon Joy Show. What if I told you that you could lose weight like you are? What if I told you that you could lose weight? What if I told you that you could lose weight like you are on a GLP-1 injection without ever having to take the shots? Because not taking the shots is becoming more important than ever. The truth about those so-called miracle injections is finally exploding into courtrooms across America, and the stories are absolutely gruesome. Nearly 4,000 lawsuits are now piling up against Ozempic and its cousins. People are reporting stomach paralysis so severe that food sits and literally rots in their stomachs. Endless vomiting, ER tubes down the nose, sudden permanent blindness, pancreatitis, kidney damage, and muscle vanishing so fast it ages the body fast forward. The FDA just slapped a gastroparesis warning on the label, yet the claims keep rising. Lawyers are now talking about over $2 billion in damages. The shot that was sold as a miracle is looking a lot less miraculous, and you do not have to risk your health for weight loss. There's a better way, completely natural. Ditch the GLP-1 injections for an all-natural weight loss system with Feel Great by Unicity. Pure yerba mate and powerful fiber fuel your body's own natural GLP-1 production. This system helps with fasting, and it also heals your gut. The best part about this, it's all natural and you never have to take the shots. It makes true intermittent fasting easy, sustainable, and side effect free. Cravings drop, energy rises, and the weight comes off the way your body was designed without needles or horror story consequences. Thousands of us are already ditching the injections and feeling better than we have in years. Go to shannonjoyhealth.com right now. That's shannonjoyhealth.com right now to learn all about the system. You will get a 90-day trial and also $90 off the full Unicity system. Plus, if you're not completely happy after those 90 days, you get a full refund. Zero risk. Your body was never meant to be a science experiment. Choose that natural path. Find out about Feel Great by Unicity at shannonjoyhealth.com today. All right, everyone, do me a favor right now. Go grab your lotion. If you're a lady, it's probably the fancy schmancy stuff you paid way too much for off an ad on Facebook. I know, I've been there. Anyway, go ahead and read the label out loud. Can't pronounce the ingredients? Well, neither could I. And that's not skincare. That's a chemistry experiment in a bottle that we're slathering on our skin every single day. Well, North Idaho Tallow Company fixed all that. One ingredient that you actually know, grass-fed tallow. No lab list, no guesswork, handmade, small batched by a mom in North Idaho who refused to put that garbage on her own kids. So why would we? Here's the challenge. Throw out that mystery bottle and replace it with the Idaho Tallow Soap, Scrub, and Soothe bundle. This is created exclusively for the Joy audience. It's only $29 and it's going to change your skin. Go to idahotallow.com/joy to open up that $29 discount soap, scrub, and soothe bundle, or grab the promo code JOY and use it anywhere on the site for an additional 15% off the regular store. idahotallow.com/joy. That's idahotallow.com/joy. All right, welcome back, everyone, to the Shannon Joy Show. Just taking a look at the live chat on YouTube. For those of you who are watching on YouTube today, thank you so much for being with us. We have a great audience going. Sharon Zarlaki is with us today. Trump calls it tech. I call it tech hell and getting worse. Thank you for your comment, Sharon Zarlaki. Black Stocks X is with us. Great to see you. We have Silverbug 999 on the YouTube chat. Great to see you. Stephanie Green, we had a station wagon, and yes, we leaned out the back seat waving. I love it. Sharon Zarlaki, I do not have a smartphone. Don't want one. I love that. Yeah, it's great to see you guys on the live chat on YouTube. I'm so thrilled to be platforming there. So many of the SJ platforms are growing by leaps and bounds. And so thank you for those of you who are watching on YouTube. Thank you for those of you who are watching on Twitter. And of course, the Rumble live chat. You guys are always amazing. Cotton 33. I went without a phone for a week. At first, it affected me, but by the 5th day, I didn't want it back. I love that. I love that. I would love to figure out a way to ditch the smartphone, keep some of the things that I like about it, but really, ditch all of like the social media, the notifications, all the distractions, really anxiety inducing. I'm telling you, this is why these kids, and that's, what is the name? Why do I keep blanking on this guy's name? So I'm looking at After Babel, and that is Jonathan Haidt's Substack. And he goes into in great detail how destroying the phones are to the minds and the development and the psychology of children, how it creates depression and anxiety. In fact, there is a talk from him on the show notes of the Shannon Joy Show, which I linked, why you should be a techno skeptic. It is a TED Talk that I might feature actually on the SJ Show on one of our Rumble Premium broadcasts, because it's a great talk and we should all be skeptical of technology. I also have Digital Detox for the Modern Family. This is also featured on After Babel. This is a great Substack, and it has all kinds of tips and tricks and protocols that you can put in place for yourself and your family to put these phones and technology and AI and social media in its place. So everything is linked on the show notes of the Shannon Joy Show. If you're watching right now, just scroll down. You can get all of those links, but I also have a lot of stories on the pushback against flock cameras and data centers, which we're going to get to in a minute. This is the great American AI technology rebellion, and I love it. Why are we rebelling? Well, because we want the summers of the 70s, 80s, and 90s back. And I have a bunch of videos for you guys today. This one is hilarious. I pushed this one out on, and I'm not going to play the whole thing. It is 4 minutes long. These are two real boys from 1989 who were bored in the summer of 1989 in Alabama. And these two young fellows essentially created a Metallica music video using tennis rackets and their own ingenuity. And it's hilarious. It is the full video, 4 minutes long of this thing. I'm going to start playing it. You guys are going to love it. But this is what we used to do in the 90s, right? With the camcorder and the VHS. And if you were a girl, what my friends and I used to do, we would do game shows, soap operas, and cooking shows. So we would pretend we were like Katie Couric or doing something. Like, it was hilarious. I remember doing this all summer long. I don't know what we were thinking, but it was the most fun ever. So let's check this out. This is a real video. It is making its way across social media. I posted it on Facebook and Twitter earlier today because it is just too much. Check out these guys, two real boys, 1989, the summer of 1989 in Alabama. It's great. Check it out. The fight scene. Oh my gosh. It gets better. What song is this? Someone tell me. Oh my gosh. The hair. The jeans. What is it? Battery? I mean, wow, look at this. I love it. I love it so much. I love it so much. I love it so much. It goes on for another 2.5 minutes. I'll probably lose my entire audience, but that is what we did in the summer. And look at all that ingenuity. I mean, they had the pool scene, they had the forest scene, they had the tennis racket guitar, they knew all of the lyrics. Like, it's hilarious. And they're using their imaginations, and it's like, oh my, CJP Rumble. OMG, I forgot the woods. Oh my gosh. I remember being chased by dogs. That is the thing of the 1980s and 90s. No one gets chased by dogs anymore because everyone has their dogs on leashes. But I have distinct memories. There were certain houses that you never rode by on your bike with the banana seat because the dog would come out and viciously chase you. Like, I don't know if you guys remember. Isn't that crazy? When I tell my kids that we were chased by dogs all the time in the summer, they're like mortified. Like, how did you survive? Mark the Regan, I don't care for heavy metal. Led Zeppelin wasn't heavy metal. Metallica was pretty heavy metal. All of the guys, like those two kids were the guys that I grew up with. Like that, those two kids were the boys that I grew up with in my childhood with the feathered hair. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. CJP Rumble, who was chased by dogs? Second Chance. My dog chased everything. LT Oracle of Truth. Why would you lose your audience? We all want to go back, don't we? Zamil 777. I was a real headbanger back in the 80s. Heavy metal was great. Seriously, CJP Rumble, the dogs were scary. Oh my gosh, playing cards in the spokes of your bike, Zen Woman. Now, Zen Woman said that was the trick to keeping the dogs away. Interesting. I never knew that. Mark the Regan, lots of acoustic electric blends, brilliant. So funny. So does anyone know what song that was? It was Metallica, but I don't know what the song was. Iron Maiden? Yeah, Buskman. Iron Maiden is so funny. Who had a mullet? Who had a rat tail? I think I had both. I think I had the mullet, and then that just I wasn't going far enough. So I had the mullet as a girl, I kid you not, then cut the mullet, but left a rat tail. That's how bad it was for me. Oh my gosh, I wish I had some of the pictures. You guys would die at some of the pictures. It's just crazy. All right, you guys want another video? Okay, let's look at this. So that was the 90s summer. That's what we did. It was the summer of 1989, but that was really like, I was born in 1977, so I had a little bit of the 70s. I was a baby. I grew up in the 1980s. That was my early childhood, early adolescence. And then, mid to late teens was in the 90s. Zen Woman did the Joan Jett look. Yeah, we got something for everyone. Okay, here's another one. Oh, you guys are going to love this one. Ready to go to the 80s? Who wants to go to the 80s? Let's go. Let's go. Another video. Here we go.
Why the students from the 80s and 90s in America were the toughest. We'd leave school, put the chairs up like this. That 1-minute anxiety-filled test where you had to prove you weren't an idiot. Drinking straight from the water fountain, full of germs.
That's right.
Only the kids who really won the game got the ribbons. Climbing a 30-foot rope in gym class with nothing but a thin mat on the ground. The pain of getting hit in the face with a dodgeball. Being thrown off the playground equipment at 100 miles per hour. Wearing gym class pennies that were never washed, but we still had to wear them. Ever had class in a portable classroom? It was so hot in the summer, freezing cold in the winter. Who remembers using the card catalog to find a book? It used to take longer to find the book than to actually read it. Nothing was worse than getting a red card. Did you ever get hit when corporal punishment was still allowed? We walked several miles to get to school, selling candy bars for the school fundraiser, disrupting class and getting punished for it. Not only did we write in cursive, but we had penmanship in school. What else do you remember? Share it with me.
Absolutely. The annex, 5th grade. We were in the annex. I don't know if everyone else, I guess they were, I don't know why were annexes so prevalent in the 80s? I have no idea. Card catalogs, all of the things. In fact, I think the first anxiety I ever experienced as a kid, one of the very first times I remember experiencing anxiety as a kid was over library books, because I was always losing them and taking them out and forgetting to bring them back. And I remember like laying awake at night and thinking like, oh my gosh, I can't find that library book. I'm going to get in trouble. Do you guys remember all of that? Here's some more from the 80s. Take a look at this one.
Hey man, welcome back to the 80s. Do you still remember how it used to feel?
Yes.
Life in the 80s was passing notes, waiting for the bell, and acting like every hallway was a runway.
In the 80s, more was better. Bigger hair, wilder looks, and good music. In the 80s, every night felt electric. Dancing, the music, the bars, it used to be alive and different. Life in the 80s had its own soundtrack. You just rolled the window down and let the road play along.
In the 80s, film industry felt real and exciting. Acting, the dialogue, everything was amazing.
Yeah. Back then, we didn't have any auto-tunes, virtual instruments, and plugins to make music sound better.
I miss how life in the 80s felt before the movies started. Neon lights, crowded lines, and everybody talking too loud. In the 80s, a ringing phone meant excitement, not anxiety.
In the 80s, nobody was stressing. We were just living in the moment. It's the 80s, man. We don't worry about the stuff, we live in the moment.
We didn't have mobile phones, social media, or digital screens.
The 80s felt bigger at night. No phones, just stories and good times with friends.
All right, there we go. There was the 80s, the hair of the 80s. It was so special. Shoulder pads, Tears for Fears, Saved by the Bell. Do you guys remember Zach and Tiffany Tiffany Amber Thiessen from Saved by the Bell? Awesome. Now, they had problems back then. You know, we're nostalgic now because we're looking back to what looks like or seems like a simpler time, and things were not simple in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. But we can't ignore how different society is and culture is today because of the screens, because of the social media, because of the handheld devices. And so I think, and you know, the biggest impact, I think, is in human connection, human development, and those human interactions. And so we just really need to keep that at the forefront of everything. And this is why I'm so excited about this piece that is linked in the show notes of the Shannon Joy Show, The Great American AI Rebellion. Americans hate data centers, but most of AI's builders are clueless about why. And this is linked. It was written by Derek Thompson. And, you know, this is what he has to say. Whether it thrills you or terrifies you, artificial intelligence, AI, has never been more important as an aspect in the US economy than it is right now. Now, the question about that is whether or not this is a bubble. Is it real? Right? Because he goes on to say that the data center build out has significantly overtaken the dot-com boom as a share of the GDP. In fact, AI spending is now rising faster than home construction spending during the boom of the 90s and the mid-2000s before the Great Recession. He writes, this is the biggest and fastest growing infrastructure project of our lifetime, Operation Warp Speed for Tech, initiated by Donald Trump. Now, the question is this organic and real, or is this a bubble? Many are saying this is a bubble. This is not real. This is government funding, printing money, dumping that money into Silicon Valley and the Magnificent Seven for the AI circular investing, which is creating a massive, massive bubble that is dependent upon compute, right? And so they can't keep up. They can't keep turning a profit. In fact, none of them do turn a profit, but they're building the infrastructure. They're trying to build the infrastructure so that eventually they can turn a profit. And so this is the biggest and fastest growing infrastructure project of our lifetimes. Much of it is being thwarted, as I mentioned, by local communities and local activism. We are taking down the flock cameras. We're dismantling the surveillance state and the camera systems. And we're also pushing back and defeating the data center build out. And you can't argue with that. Sorry, Donald Trump. I don't care what you say. You say it's inevitable and we can't fight back. Oh, yes, we can. And I have the list right here, right? So right now they're telling us that this AI boom is necessitating the build out of the surveillance and the data centers. I think that's a lie. I think that AI is not nearly as advanced as they say it is, and I don't think it's nearly as beneficial to the functioning of businesses and humans and in human life as they say it is. I think they want it to be that way because they want to create a self-fulfilling prophecy. That's why Elon Musk says the same things over and over. That's why Peter Thiel and Sam Altman and Donald Trump and the tech bros are trying to declare this as inevitable. They want it to be true, and they're trying to make it true. So they're saying it's inevitable. We need to understand that it's not in any way, shape, or form inevitable. We decide. The culture decides. We, the people, will decide. So the idea here, though, is that the AI boom does desperately need to build more data centers in order to survive. And I think that's how we kill this baby in the cradle, right? They want the techno-fascist police state, the surveillance state, and the AI control is desperate. In order for it to grow and actually become viable, they desperately need to build out these data centers. And this is now being stripped away from them, okay? And so the opposition to AI is growing, and this is what they have to say about it. The opposition to AI and tech and flock and the data centers has never been more popular in the United States of America. Conservative Republicans and Democrats don't agree about much, they say in this piece, but both groups of voters really don't like data centers. In fact, their antipathy to data centers might be the only thing they strongly agree on this day. Here we go. I'm not sure that I've ever seen a chart where conservative Republicans are closer to liberal Democrats than liberal and moderate Republicans are, said Anthony Lazarowitz, the director of the Yale program on climate change communication. He said, overall, the negative attitudes towards AI are higher today than in any previous period of polling. Data centers are more unpopular today than nuclear power plants ever were in the history of polling, and the U.S. practically stopped building those for decades. The unpopularity of data centers is having a significant effect on the ability to build them. That's the poll quote. That's what you say back to people like Donald Trump, Peter Thiel, Elon Musk, Sam Altman, and the tech bros. The 1% of the Silicon Valley people who think that this is inevitable and want you to think this is inevitable. It is not. The unpopularity of data centers is having a significant effect on the ability to build them. Hundreds of groups around the country are coordinating to block the construction of data centers. Despite New York State Governor Kathy Hochul being a proud user of AI, she has now declared a data center moratorium in New York State. Okay. The fastest growing political movement, they say in this piece, in America is dead set on stopping the construction of data centers, which are critical to the growth of the fastest growing industry in America, which they say is AI, but it's also the police state, right? So our own government is banking on an AI surveillance police state in order to save America from the debt crisis that they created, right? So this is the false choice that Americans have to make, or that they want us to make. In order to solve the debt problem, we have to, I guess, have a techno-fascist police state. No, that's a false choice, and we don't have to do it. So here we go. It's a great piece, and I can back it up here with just, I mean, I have two pieces here on the flock revolt and also what is going down with the data centers in terms of the data center revolt. And let's just start with the flock, okay? This is in just the past 4 weeks. Just the past 4 weeks, guys. Don't believe anyone when they tell you that surveillance is inevitable, that the data centers are inevitable. It is a lie. It is a lie. All right, so multiple U.S. cities and towns, again, are removing or decommissioning flock safety automated license plates readers, those ALPR cameras. They are citing privacy, Fourth Amendment concerns, unauthorized use of the data and data sharing, especially with federal agencies, public backlash, audit findings of misuse, vandalism, and unauthorized reinstallations. So they say Flock's network has grown overall, but dozens of municipalities now have taken them down. They have terminated, non-renewed, or suspended contracts in just the last couple months. So El Cerrito, California, all the cameras deactivated. Littleton, Massachusetts, Littleton, Maryland, officials ordered cameras powered down and removed. Duluth and West St. Paul, Minnesota, the largest Minnesota community to do so, is letting its grant-funded contract expire for flock cameras. Coweta, Oklahoma, Chandler, Arizona, Burnett County, Texas, Lago Vista, Texas, and other cities. This is just in August. It's only August 13th. Okay, so they are terminating these contracts. They're taking down the cameras, whether it's flock or not. It's happening across the country. And I mentioned that the data center revolt is only growing. So this is great. I think that the people, again, they always have their plans for us, right, from the federal government. But at the end of the day, it's the culture and the people who decide. They want you to believe that the only way for us to resist, the only way for us to have our voices heard is to go into a voting booth and vote for a Democrat or a Republican every 2 to 4 years. That is not the case. It is our job as citizens to revolt, to refuse to comply, to put down these initiatives and fight back as much as we possibly can so that we can preserve our culture. And so, yes, I thought today would be a good day to remember what it feels like and what it is like to be a kid in the summer without tech surveillance, without social media, without the smartphones, without the notifications and the anxiety, just getting out there in the sun, fresh air, bare feet, and being kids. And so that's what I wanted to do today on the SJ show, is just remind everyone that whatever they're telling us is inevitable doesn't have to be inevitable. We do not need to live in a techno-fascist surveillance police state. We don't have to be shackled to AI and social media. We don't have to be shackled to our screens. We can say no, and we need to say no. And the more Americans, that act of resistance, one thing you can do right now from your own home, you can begin to make changes in your life about how you use screens, when you use screens, whether or not you let your children use screens, and how you monitor that. Little steps every day. Some people have to pull the Band-Aid off and give them up, go cold turkey. Other people can put systems in place. I've put so many systems in place for my phone. I can go hours, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 hours without even looking at my phone. It drives everyone crazy. I should put my ringer on so that they could at least call me. But they're like, why aren't you texting me back? Why aren't you getting back to me? Because when I'm off my phone, I am off my phone, right? When I end this show for the week, I unplug from the news media cycle. I don't look at it as much as I can. I don't look at it again until Sunday. I am with my family. I'm having conversations. I'm spending as little time as humanly possible on the phone. That doesn't mean I'm perfect. I find myself doom scrolling. I can erase hours from my day getting sucked into the phone. I'm just like all of you, right? But we don't have to be that way. And the more that we push back against this, the more they release their grip on controlling us, right? The fear cycle doesn't work anymore. The fear porn doesn't work anymore. The anxiety-ridden news headlines that encourage us to hate each other because of the presidential political sign that we have in our front yard or because of a political contest. Like, that's crazy. Why would you hate your neighbor because they voted for a different person than you? Like, that's insane. That is like so 21st century United States of America. Like, that's warped. We should never let that happen. We should never let politics divide us ever. It should be we the people, Democrats and Republicans, up against the power players in DC and the corporate cronies and the corporate bureaucrats and the oligarchs and the techno-fascists. And they come in all shapes and sizes and all political stripes. They are Democrats and Republicans and some independents as well. So anyway, that's the show. What's going on in the live chat? Is there a throwdown? Is there a battle royale on the live chat? Who's off their meds? See, this is what happens. The live chat on Rumble is a show in and of itself. Someone fill me in. Oh, I see. Yeah. Is Gaelic Monkey making trouble again on the live chat? Very provocative. I love it. There's a Rumble on the Rumble live chat today. Anyway, CJP Rumble. I was rude. Okay, well, anyway, that's it, guys. That's the show. Thank you so much for being with me today on the SJ Show, LT Oracle of Truth. Hey, great uplifting show today, Shannon. Well, thank you, right? We can't be all doom and gloom all day long, every day. I don't know how I've survived for 13 years being in this business, having to look at these freaking headlines. Most of them propaganda, right? Most of them riddled with mistruths, not just on left-wing news media, but on right-wing news media as well. So Bosquin says, leave Gaelic alone. She's salty. So funny. We're being harassed by Miss NYC. Mark Regan says, Gaelic Monkey is obnoxious. Gaelic Monkey, are you still in the live chat? Anyway, Texas Gal forever. Be blessed, y'all. Thank you so much, girl. Mark the Regan, thank you for being with us today. Zamil777, good show, Shannon. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I had so much fun looking for those videos of life in the 70s, 80s, and 90s as a kid without social media and smartphones. And I enjoyed watching them again back with all of you. So I want you all to have a wonderful weekend. I'm pre-recording an interview with Catherine Austin Fitz tomorrow. She's in the Netherlands. And so to accommodate the time difference and the scheduling difference, we're going to pre-record that show. And that is going to run next week on Thursday. So mark your calendars. Next week, Thursday, Catherine Austin Fitz. We will run that as part of my live show on Thursday. And we have some good guests coming up next week as well. Again, we're going to continue to tackle these topics, news, culture, geopolitics, education, healthcare, you name it, we tackle it here on the Shannon Joy Show. Not left, not right, just the truth. As you know, straight up, no chaser. We need more independent voices out there, and we try to bring you that independent perspective every day. Everything we talked about today is linked in the show notes of the Shannon Joy Show, including the sponsors of the Shannon Joy Show. And I really want you guys to consider checking out Unicity. So the Feel Great program, I absolutely love it. I've been using it now for well over 2 months. I don't use it for weight loss. People ask me, Shannon, how do you keep so trim even into your 50s? And I'm approaching 50. And I swear by intermittent fasting and regular fasting. I think that has been one of the keys to my health, to maintaining my weight, to avoiding belly fat and all that comes along with menopause. And I am fully through menopause now, dealing with all of that. But, this has been something that has been part of my routine for many, many years. And I attribute my ability to keep weight off by that intermittent fasting. Most people have a lot of trouble with intermittent fasting. And this is why the Feel Great program is so amazing. It's a 2-part powder-based mix-in program that you use every single day. And the Unimate is a powder-based liquid that you sip in the mornings and in the afternoon, and it just erases the cravings. It makes it easier if you want to begin to try to pursue intermittent fasting, maybe cutting out breakfast and lunch and not eating until about 3 p.m. This product helps immensely in curbing those cravings and taking away the food noise. The second part of the program is the balance. And this is the patented part that is unbelievable. It slows down the digestion process. So you take it right before your biggest meal of the day. And it's a fiber-based product that slows down digestion and helps your body avoid insulin spikes, which is often one of the reasons that people feel lethargic. They gain weight. They have trouble maintaining a healthy weight, all of the things. You can learn all about it. So I'm taking these products. I love them. I feel great. And this company, they're just a great company. You can learn all about them at shannonjoyhealth.com. That's shannonjoyhealth.com. For you and a loved one, one of the things I love also, it's keeping people off the GLP-1 injections, which is critical. People are having the same weight loss success with this program that they've had with the GLP-1 injections, and it's all natural. So you can learn about this at shannonjoyhealth.com, shannonjoyhealth.com. $90 off permanently for the Shannon Joy audience when you sign up. And they have other benefits as well. You guys are going to love this product. And again, the folks over Unicity are amazing. Amazing. I really vetted this company, looked into the products, looked into how it works. And as you know, I've been using it now and absolutely love it. I think that my digestion, my gut health is better than it has ever been. It's impacting every aspect of my life. So we're talking about weight loss, but there are other elements of this program that are simply going to make you feel great. So shannonjoyhealth.com. That's shannonjoyhealth.com. So let's go in and say goodbye. Max Glitman, Shannon, don't stop. This is too much fun. What is going on? Buskman, great show today, Shannon. Thanks, Buskman. You're the best. You guys are great. Gaelic Monkey, we love you. We love you. If you're salty, you're salty. No problemo. It's good. I love it. I love it. All right, everyone. Get out there. Get in nature. Turn off the phones. Throw them in the river. No, don't throw them in the river. Just take a break. Let's take back our humanity, and we're going to do it over the weekend. So I'll see you guys all on Monday. Have a wonderful weekend, and I hope that you guys have a great time embracing your humanity and putting those phones away. And we'll be back. We'll be back next week to do it all again right here on the Shannon Joy Show.